Welcome back to News Talk. The job market is bad, and it seems to be getting worse, certainly more intense. And now it seems that the battle over entry-level positions is growing increasingly difficult, with young people squaring off with seniors looking to return to the marketplace, duking it out over job openings. One of our favorite guests, Mary Abbajay, joins us now. She's president of Careerstone Group. It's good to see you as always. Thanks very much.
Great to be here. Thank you, Bruce.
I was really amazed to read, and I think it was in the New York Times last Saturday, and I think they were looking at Fort Lauderdale, but only as sort of a snapshot of what is in most likelihood happening everywhere. Young people have always been, you know, I scooped ice cream. We've all had those.
I made pizzas.
You made pizza. I think I worked in a pharmacy too in a very menial capacity. We've all done it. Well, now seniors are looking at their, their checkbook, their 401k, their retirement savings, and they're saying, "Uh-oh, time to recalculate and recalibrate." So they're going back into the marketplace, not for a high muckety-muck job with pressure and stress, just something to bring in some extra dough. So you've got this clash of old and young over these entry-level jobs.
Absolutely, and I found this story fascinating and really not that surprising when you think about it. And you know, what's interesting to me is that employers, well, first of all, we always hear about age discrimination for the older workers, right? So it's kind of interesting to me that employers are seeing the value in older workers. So on the one hand, I applaud that. But on the other hand, young workers are facing a tough time in the job market. The latest statistics from the Bureau of Labor Statistics came out and said there is a 5% increase in workers over 55 who are working currently, and there's a 10% decrease in the 16 to 24-year-old workforce. And so, I mean, in terms of who has the job. So it's a very interesting dynamic.
And let's be honest, the system, you know, good times are bad. The system needs seniors to sort of move on to open up positions for younger people.
That's exactly right. The baby boomers are clogging the system. We call it in some organizations, and I'm so sorry to say this, I'm sure I'm going to get calls, but it's the gray ceiling. And if they don't move out of the way, and they're a huge generation, they're just clogging it all up behind them. And so Gen X doesn't get the leadership positions. Generation Y doesn't even get those entry-level positions. And this is important for Generation Y, the youngest generation, because those first couple of years of work are where you learn, you get your experience and your soft skills. So what's happening now when they go into a job market like this, where there aren't good jobs for them to have, they're actually getting behind. So let's say when this economy turns around in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, this is going to be kind of a lost generation.
Well, and I want you to talk in more detail about soft skills. I love that phrase. I think I know where you're going. Let me open up the lines, though. 703-387-1020 is our number here on News Talk as we continue to talk with Mary Abbajay, president of Careerstone Group, and just someone we're always looking forward to being able to talk with. We'll go to the phones right away. As soon as we get your calls lined up, grab an open line. Join us at 703-387-1020. Soft skills.
Soft skills. These are things which primarily are customer service skills. When you're looking at some of the things in the New York Times article. Soft skills, how to engage with other people, how to treat customers, how to problem solve effectively so that people feel heard. Those kind of skills, emotional intelligence skills, the kind of skills that enable you to work well with others are the soft skills. And when young people don't get jobs that give them that exposure, they have great technical skills. But we all know in the real world, you make it through soft skills and you make it through experience. And without these entry-level jobs going to young people, they're going to lose out on that.
The other interesting thing, or one of the other interesting things about the New York Times article was that each group in this battle over the entry-level jobs think that employers are favoring the others. You know, the young people say, "Oh, we can't compete with the seniors. They have 40 years experience. They have all this knowledge. We're just trying to get onto that first rung." The seniors, meantime, say, "Oh," I think particularly the women, they're like, no boss wants me. They want some pretty young thing. So everyone's like casting arrows over the wall.
Everyone thinks they're getting the raw deal, right? Everyone thinks that the grass is greener, the other group's getting a fair shake. But the truth is, everyone's getting kind of a raw deal, and it's just the nature of the business. Look, I would have to say, overall, I think the older workers probably get discriminated against more often in our economy generally. There may be a little swing now towards that, and a lot of that's kind of self-inflicted by Generation Y. They haven't They don't have a reputation for having good customer service skills. They don't have the same work ethic that boomers have, at least not demonstrated. You know, they call in sick more often. They have...
And one employer they interviewed said that on 75-degree sunny days in Fort Lauderdale, it's not the older workers who are calling in sick to take the mental health break at the beach.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo, May 6th, you probably have the young people who are calling in, you know, overserved from the night before. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, especially in the heavily customer service areas, I can see employers going for older workers.
A second interesting article that ever since I read it I've been wanting to talk to you was in the Post at the start of the week, and it talked about how folks who telecommute, who are lucky enough to have maybe a satellite office closer to home that they are able to work from, than having to schlep, you know, 20, 30 miles down to the central business district, to downtown or whatever, afraid suddenly to do it because they don't want to be that worker the boss doesn't see. People are afraid to even take in sick days, which makes me nervous, because if someone's sneezing their flu germs around, it's like, get away from me.
I agree.
Is this true? Is this happening?
I mean, absolutely, and this shouldn't surprise anybody. And I want to kind of caution, there's been a lot of like hype and drama from the work-life people saying, oh, this is horrible, we're being set back 20 years. I want to caution them that this is a natural reaction, okay? People are freaked out. Employers are freaked out. And you better believe employers are gonna look at whose face they're seeing every day. It's just it's the collision of perception and reality. If an employer has to make that tough decision of who they're going to let go, naturally they're going to think about the person they see every day.
But we can't count on them to look a little deeper than that. In other words, if Mary works in a satellite office and is stellar, you know, she's not as exhausted from the long commute. And she knows she's got a good thing going, working in the satellite office. So she's doing 120%. John, who sits there every day, is a slug. But because the boss is seeing him, he has an advantage over Mary?
Well, I think the more likely scenario is Mary and Bruce are both excellent producers. But Bruce is producing in his pajamas from his kitchen, and no one sees him, you know, 3 days a week. So when you're going to compare apples to oranges, I think they're going to choose Mary, whose face they see every day, who's always like, hey, how you doing? You know, that sort of thing. And again, we have to remember people are not always rational. And these are not rational times. And these are tough decisions for our employers. So I think that, you know, I think it's really interesting.
Did the article talk to, correct me, do you remember, did they talk about women putting off motherhood?
Well, you know,
because they didn't want to get off the career track at the wrong time?
They intimidated that this might happen. And I think, you know, when you think about this issue, this phenomena, this is going to affect women more than men, I think, in large part, because it really does. Women do require, because we're still the primary caretakers of the children, I think it is going to require them to really rethink their work-life balance and being able to do that. And it will affect them, and it's going to throw a lot of families, I think, who are used to this 4-day work week or 3-day work week, it's going to throw some disarray into their lives, and it's going to be very, very tough. And I want our viewers to know that this will come back. You know, this is just a short, kind of tough time that we have to get through. People are going to have to just kind of suck it up a little bit, in a Gen X phrase, you know, and make it through. But I do think it will come back. Employers will start to, you know, open up flex time again.
I want to have you back, because one thing I want to talk to you about is what a drag many people find the job search. But you got to be selling yourself. You have to be up. You've got to be making that employer think you're someone I want, who's going to be a plus, not a drag on my company or whatever. So overcoming that sort of the whole job search. We're going to talk about that next time. Mary Abbajay is the best. She's the president of Career Stone Group. Always good to see you. Thanks for coming in.